Kate Northrup, and I wrote this book, Money, a Love Story, Untangle Your Financial Woes and Create the Life You Really Want. And as part of this launch, I've invited some of my dear friends who I love and respect to share their money love stories, because money is such a taboo topic, and I think as part of the launch of this book, what I wanted to do is open up the conversation so that we are having conversations in public about money in a loving, conscious way to inspire more people to know that that's even possible. And so that's what we're up to. I'm here with my friend Casey Baker, who runs the School for the Well-Spoken Woman. And Casey is just, we've known each other for a million years.
In many years, since 2005, actually.
Since 2005, and I've just, I've seen Casey through many iterations up until this moment, which is like, she's just so like juicy and gorgeous, and I just wish I could touch you right now. But anyway, she teaches women to use their voice and to not only get speaking gigs, but also really be change makers and powerful change makers. So I want to talk to you, Casey, and first hear about, what did you learn about regarding money, or what did you witness growing up?
Yes, I learned a lot of things. I grew up in a home where all of my parents are entrepreneurs. And so I did learn very early on that you can go out in the world and make money doing from your ideas.
Yeah.
I did learn that, and I also learned that you can lose all of your money, and that's very stressful. And so I grew up in a home where it was very much like this, make money, lose money, make money, lose money, not much stability with money. And so what I learned is that money is a place of incredible stress, is a source of incredible stress and anxiety. And I saw both of my parents really struggle with that. Having very expensive lifestyle tastes, and also, the feeling of like a boost of something that came from having money to be able to pay for things, but then at the same time, and nice things, but at the same time, the stress around needing that. And the stress around managing money. And so it was a very convoluted thing where I felt like I learned that I needed money in order to afford a lifestyle of a lot of nice things. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of simplicity that I experienced. And but there was also a tremendous amount of anxiety around dealing with money, fear of losing money. Yeah. Those were really, really complicated feelings growing up.
Yeah. Now, I know you left home and then you ended up going to Penn and then you got into investment banking, which is like, how did that happen? But anyway,
that's a different story.
Looking at you, I'm like, wait, wow. So tell me, how did some of those experiences growing up and some of the beliefs that you had or modeling that you had shape your experience with money as you got out to be in the world on your own?
Yeah, the first big thing that comes to my mind, there are two big things. One was I felt an enormous amount of self-doubt about my ability to offer any gifts that I have inside or ideas that I had to the world and make money from them. I felt very held back in that, and a lot of fear around that, even though I really wanted that so much. There was a lot of self-doubt that I felt. And one of the big things that I identified, and when I really did, I had a ritual around this eventually, and a lot of kind of like inner work that I ended up doing around this one particular piece, but when I did this, it changed everything, was I felt, here's what it was. I felt like I needed my father or a man to provide for me. And even though rationally I could have told myself I'm a modern woman, I'm a highly educated woman, I don't need that, that still was there, because the feeling of the experience of being provided for financially, which is what I had with my father growing up, was an experience of feeling loved. And so I was linking deeply being provided for financially by a man with the experience of being loved. And there was a fear inside of me that if I became financially if I became, financially independent, if I became financially resourceful in myself, that I would lose out on the opportunity of receiving that kind of love that I craved in my life so deeply. And so I was holding myself back from being, from offering my gifts in the world, frankly. Yeah. And all the mind trip I had around that, so that I could, have this fantasy of deep love and providership come into my life. And as it would happen, when I did finally have a transformation around that, I experienced more love. I experienced a deepened love in my relationship with David. Mm-hmm. And I also had so many unforeseen gifts that I never could have imagined come into my life as my work bloomed in the world as a result.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. And, that's quite parallel, actually, in certain ways to my own journey. So that really resonates, that whole, associating money and love, and that the two are... the purpose of the book is to show that people can have a loving relationship with their money, not that money is love. So
yes,
it's really important. I just was really listening to you and thinking, I'm so glad you got over that.
I am too. That one sucked.
Yeah, it sucks. And then I want to know, you were talking about, before we started recording, a recent experience, well, it wasn't actually that recent, but anyway, a couple years back, moment in building your business when you had a realization that changed everything when it comes to money. So could you share that story, because it was a good one?
Yeah. I just to give a little bit of context, my work in the world really started to grow very organically and kind of grow and take off in it was in 2011, and I began to experience getting out there and speaking and putting on my first major live event and having a lot of private clients come in an abundance. And I started, really experiencing it for the first time, not through investment banking or through being paid by a company, but through myself and the value that I was offering in the world, real financial abundance.
Yeah.
And I did wake up one morning, I'll never forget it. It was in January of 2012. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, it just really hit me over the head. When I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm running out of cash. I've been delivering so much with all of my clients that I hadn't been doing anything to bring in new work for a while. And then it was a moment where I could see, it was the moment of clarity that comes at 4 a.m. when you feel really spacious and tapped into something kind of much. There's just an interest. It's an interesting hour, the 4 a.m. 3 a.m. thing.
The witching hour.
The witching hour. And I could see the road in my mind, and I could see how realizing oh my gosh, I'm about out of money. There was a way in which I could have turned and gone down this old road of where I've gone my whole life, which is a feeling of panic, fear, worry, oh God, what am I going to do? Wanting to reach out to maybe my, looking for salvation outside of myself. Mm-hmm. And there was all of a sudden this realization that took me down this other road, and I realized in that moment, I actually never have to worry about making money ever again. Because I realized in that moment that the true source of money was the value that I have to offer the world. And all I ever have to do is open up my heart and my mind and add value to the world. And that is the flow of money. And I realized I would never have to worry about money ever again. And it was a defining moment. And I really haven't, where I've definitely had moments of oh my gosh, I've got to get in action. Yeah. Now I know it's you just have to get in action. Yeah.
You are the source.
And you are the source.
Yeah.
It's not outside of you.
Yeah. And I love that the way you articulated it, that you are the source of cash based on your ability to provide value to the world.
That's right.
I really want those of you listening to get that it's that simple. That's it.
And it is a two-way thing. I mean, it is, you're adding value into the world to benefit the lives of other people.
It
is
has to be real value
about that, but the source of actual money and cash is not some like thing out here. It's here.
Yeah. You are in control. Yeah. I love that. That's really beautiful. So I want to know, for you growing your business, you're at kind of like a moment in your life of a lot of enjoying a lot of things having come to fruition. You talked about you've launched 3 programs this year. Things are going really well. You just launched something that you were like, oh, I'll just like give this a go, and it went really well, all those things. So given that none of us ever kind of is going to get there or have it all together, and it's always a journey, what's the next frontier for you when it comes to money? What's the next growth edge for you?
That is such a good question. Let me feel into that for a minute. There is, I think, a lot for me to learn right now about how to manage financial resources in my business in such a way. I think there's just a heightened degree of intelligence that I can bring to it. And I think, there's the kind of the growth edge right now is I have invested an enormous amount for the last year to year and a half back into my business. Yeah. I pay an enormous percentage, actually, for everything that I've made to my team, to building a team, to all this stuff. And, that has left, for me, not much margin in terms of having, profit for myself and for my blooming family. And so I think that the next thing for me is really learning, really looking ahead at even more at, okay, so how do I need to structure things going forward, planning ahead, really looking at how to both, keep my business growing and my team really well nourished, and at the same time creating more of a profit for myself and my family. And that takes more long range thinking. I mean, I'm the kind of entrepreneur that's like, I have an idea and I just run with it. I'm just like, oh my God, this is such a great idea. Okay, let's do it. Go. Yeah. And so I think that the opportunity for me to learn is how to really like look ahead even more. Look ahead, plan ahead, financially plan ahead. Because I have not been like a plan ahead person. Yeah. So I think that's the thing, is like looking at my relationship with money, I guess, the way that I love how you phrase that. It's like your relationship with money. It's like how to look at my relationship with money in such a way that it's like, if it were like a fine wine, how do you age it? How do you grow it? How do you nurture it? Saving, investing, all of these kinds of things. And that's the place where I am now, is to have probably a more mature relationship with it, cool. And it feels like an edge. Yeah. It feels like an edge. I think that the fear that comes up in all of that for me is that, I have definitely been somebody where I haven't been a big saver. And I think that there's a fear that comes up of, I want to do this amazing thing now, or I want to buy this thing now, or I want to, I need this thing now for my personal growth, so I'm going to go do this course or whatever. And those things have been extremely beneficial to my life, but I think there's a fear of missing out. Oh, totally. A fear of like, if I don't get this thing, I'm going to like not be happy.
Yeah. Or I'm going to miss this piece of wisdom that's like somehow only available at this one weekend. It's ridiculous.
It's so true. I need it now. Yeah. And I'm very open to learning new wisdom and distinctions and ideas around saving and investing and making choices that are rooted in, what's the word I want to use? Like not like so much as of immediate gratification.
Great. I love
but
that.
future
Sustainability, and yeah, that's great. That's very cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, that piece, it's funny. I just, Mike and I were just talking about signing up for this training thing, and he said, why don't we, before we sign up for a new, business training, why don't we make sure that we've implemented all the stuff we've learned over the last 9 months? And I was like, oh, that's really smart. So, just along those same lines, like, kind of knowing that you are the source of all money, of your own money, that you are the source of your cash. Like, we are also the source of wisdom, and that we are the access point for everything that we need. So I love that. And we get that for free. We have that connection for free 24 hours a day.
Oh, that's so beautiful. It's so true.
Yeah, it's so true. So if you want to know more about Casey and what she's up to, please go to CaseyBaker.com and find out more about the School for the Well-Spoken Woman.
Yes, and that's just KCBAKER.
Exactly. Casey.
Letter K, letter C.
Right. Yes. And it's a beautiful website. So do go just check it out. And if you want to know more about Money, a Love Story, and this kind of conversation, go to moneyalovestory.com. And when you buy the book by September 24th, you're going to get access for free to a 2-hour live online event I'm doing called A Course in Having Enough. And I've got guest experts, Marianne Williamson.
I'll be there.
Awesome. So we've got Marianne Williamson, Barbara Stanny, and Amanda Steinberg, who founded dailyworth.com, joining me for that 2-hour event. And you get it for free when you buy the book. And there are also lots of other money love stories there on moneyalovestory.com. So thank you, Casey. Your story's awesome. I love you.
I love you too. Beautiful work. I'm so happy this book is out in the world.
Thank you.
It's needed.
Mwah. Bye.